I want to start this evening's seminar by asking you to write down something that you like to do. Write down something you like to do, you enjoy doing, or you are good at doing. So write down something that you like to do or enjoy doing. If you don't have a pen and paper, it's okay. Just think about something that you enjoy doing, something that you like doing. Write down or make a mental note. You could be riding a bike, playing guitar, listening to music, going for a walk, playing an instrument, playing a sport, something that you like to do. Now, having thoughts about or wrote down something you like to do, go back to a time when you did it. Think of a time where you did something that you like to do. And go back to that time. Go back to that time where you did something that you like to do. Perhaps you'd like to close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open. Go back to that time you did something that you like to do. And as you go back to that time, notice what you see, what you hear, what you feel. And as you notice what you see, the colours, the sound, what you hear, what you feel, where the feelings are, sensations, just connect to that experience. Just connect to that experience for a moment and engage within that experience. Connect back to that experience like it's a here and now. Perhaps you'd like to close your eyes, and as you close your eyes you see yourself doing what you like to do on the screen. And as you see yourself doing what you like on the screen, imagine stepping on the screen and really live like the here and now. As you see the colours, the sounds, the feelings, any sensations, and fully experience what you like to do. And connect to that experience. And as you connect to that experience, hold that thought. We're going to come back to it later on in the seminar. The challenges with hypnosis. The challenges we have with hypnosis. Now, having done hypnosis for many, many, many years, variable approaches to hypnosis, traditional, Ericksonian, a combination of both, solution focused, and so on and so forth, and many other therapies as well, and interventions. One of the challenges of hypnosis for me, with all the benefits, now I've had the privilege to work with some of the world's best sports people, athletes, footballers, corporations, businesses, people with challenges. I've helped people overcome issues with weight, with smoking, so many things over so many years. Now, with all the benefits, and you can read for yourself, all the benefits out there that the clients themselves speak about, and with all the benefits that the therapists talk about, having used hypnosis, included hypnosis as part of their work, I ask you the question, how come hypnosis is not more widely accepted than what it is? How come? How come? How come? How come? How come is hypnosis not more widely accepted? What gets in the way a more balanced opinion and view of what hypnosis is? Tell me. Fire away. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Why isn't hypnosis as widely accepted, as in my opinion and many other opinions, as it should be? The appreciation of what hypnosis has to offer. Having used hypnosis myself, so the world's top athletes and sports people and in businesses and so on and so forth, and not just myself, many other hypnotherapists who use hypnosis as well, you wonder why. Why? If we look at the everyday attitude that's out there about hypnosis, the everyday attitude, We see that there are some issues out there. We know that in the way and the history of hypnosis. It has been associated to different types of magic, with sorcery, with stage. We've seen the stage hypnotist turn someone into a chicken, or turn someone into something that they wouldn't normally be, and we see that. We see it. We see hypnosis associated with anaesthetic, with computers. People have all these interpretations. A paradigm has formed a part of what people's perception of hypnosis is. There's a concern for someone having authority over them. The sorcerer, the magician, the stage person has the authority over a passive recipient. The magician, for example, we see it on TV. The magician, the sorcerer, he makes someone do something they wouldn't normally do. We see it. There was a program on TV I saw a while ago. I didn't watch a great deal of it. This guy actually had people going in and doing hold up and going and approaching women and asking for a date, and women asking men for a date, just doing all these things really. So you kind of had control and walking over glass and all these sort of things really. So you've got to ride into that where you will, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, and I'm sure it makes entertainment if you like that sort of stuff. But you can see how people's perception, the option, they don't really have any other option other than perceive if that's what they see in the media. Because people think the magician has power over them, and they associate hypnosis with what they see on TV. So people have this association. Now hypnosis, I mentioned in the past seminar, became popular around the Second World War. At the same point, anaesthetic became increasingly popular as well. So a lot of jargon, I think in my opinion, anaesthetic made its way across at that point to hypnosis. So what do I mean by that? I'm not medically qualified, where my specialty is in the mind, and physiology, sports science. They're the two areas that I specialise in, the mind and physiology. Yet, in saying that, we see the jargon in relation to anaesthetic, being put under, being put out. Will I wake up halfway through the session? Will I ever wake up if I go under? And so on and so forth. Now, you can understand people having their reservations. So the terminology makes its way into the world of hypnosis. The jargon of computers, deleting your hard drive, rebooting your brain, reprogramming your mind, changing files, wiping clean your mind and wiping the hard drive of your mind, and all these things that we hear. I'm sure you've come across these things. I'm sure that you've heard all that. So all of these archaic, historical jargon and pieces of jargon still have this effect, and they still have, the terminology still has the impact in hypnotherapy. Some therapists, you could make the case in point, on a bit of a power trip with hypnosis. They've got the power issue because they can be directive. I'm going to put you under. You will do what I say. You will do this. You will do that. And we see it on stage. You will turn yourself into a chicken. You'll run about and all that sort of stuff. We see all that. And people see that as a way of the hypnotist, the stage hypnotist, of exerting their power over people. And of course people are not interested in that. They don't like the idea of what hypnosis is based on that association. They will keep well and truly away, and understandably so, of at least what they think it is. Okay. Now I've talked about some of these things in the earlier seminars, and you can watch them again if you choose to. It's entirely up to you. Yeah, we're kind of refreshing your memory a little bit before we go into how to connect to a person's, what they like to do, a person's likes, what they like to do, to connect to the resources they have already anyway, that they've learned consciously and are now conscious. The capacity to learn how to drive a car, first gear, second, third gear. Now you get in the car and just drive, to learn to do a technical thing in sport, like a backhanding tennis or striking the ball in football, or a right hand in boxing, all these things. So from the point of view of traditional hypnosis, now I'm for it. I think traditional hypnosis has its place and there's some fantastic stuff you can learn. Yet, from traditional point of view, the client comes with a problem. The client has a problem. It could be an issue with weight. They might self-harm. They might have a confidence issue. They might have anxiety presenting, and so on and so forth. And the traditional approach generally is, okay, they've got the manual or the book, and in the book you've got the book of scripts. Now, I'm all for that to a point, and it works for some people. I mentioned it in the first seminar, and the first seminars, if you're in the check to watch it once again, I'm all for it. So they come in, they might have a wage and the script. That's okay. You record an audio if you choose to, and it'll work for some people. I talked about the percentages that I'm aware of, or at least I've been told through my journey into that world. Now, I'm not too big on the percentages yet. What I would say, I'm sure it'll work for some people, but not for everybody. Not for everybody, for various reasons, which I'll go into in future seminars, and I talked about in the earlier seminar. If you've not watched them, feel free to do so. But as a general rule, read the script. It's a bit of a one-size-fits-all script, isn't it? And sometimes it doesn't work. It won't work for everybody. Because I mentioned in the first seminar, if you walk in a room, you can see everyone looks different. You can see that. You can see it. Yet, just as they look different physically, they're different mentally. We can assume they all think the same. We can assume they think the same as us, which is equally, if not more, dangerous anyway. So the bottom line is that whatever they come for help or treatment for, remember how they express what it is linguistically a label. So 100 people in a room who've got depression, for example, don't all have the same symptoms, and so on and so forth. So you can understand what I mean by it can have this limitation, because we can also make the assumption it's the person, it's the therapist who's doing the work, and not the client who's finding their own solution. It's just like driving a car. It's not the driving instructor who drives the car for the person, they facilitate. It's the person who learns to drive, who goes into the test, who passes the test. It's not the word even, it's the person's interpretation. So in a way, it's a bit like, say, the anaesthetic or the computer programmer. The traditional way, you go under and then they do the procedure to the passive recipient, and that is in general the natural understanding of the way it works. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's idealistic to think that everyone's going to be the same. Like a production line. You've got a production line of different cars that have a fault, and they go through and see a mechanic, and they've got an idea of what the issue is. They've got a set of instructions how to correct the issue. So you might have an issue with the fuel injections in a certain type of car, and they call them all back again, and they've got a way of fixing it. The brain works different than that. We know that. The brain works a little bit different to that, well, a lot different to that, which I won't go into this seminar, I'll talk about in future seminars. Yet all that said and done, we want to be able to have the flexibility to use various ways to help the person go from the problem state to a solution state, from their problem state to a more desired state, to an outcome. So there's a worry about losing control for the person, and you can understandably so. It's only natural the person who's going to go see the hypnotherapist, the whole paradigm is based on an assumption of power control, that the hypnotist, the therapist, is the power and control, and the therapist's job is to fix some defective process, some defective mechanism. There is definitely something wrong with the person, and that's the therapist's job to fix the person. It's that way. So the hypnotist has a hypnotherapy or hypnotism has attracted some weird and wonderful practitioners and practices, and a lot of it does stem from the traditional approach to hypnosis being standardized, at least in my opinion, particularly in relation to research which will require standardization in order to be researched. So hypnosis, in that standard way, the standardization way, the research way, has that basic premise of this is what you'll do. So you'll go off the issue, and I'm instructing you. You're under instruction. I'm telling you, you're under instruction. I'm instructing you. I'm telling you, you'll go deeper and deeper. So it's very directive in the sense that authoritative, and you'll go deeper. We talked about certain people who are probably going to respond better to that in the earlier seminars. You're not everyone will respond really well to that. I guess it's all context dependent. But all things said and done, we know one thing's sure, there's a lot of people who won't respond really well to that. And the conventional, traditional approach, I should say, is you will do what I say. So the person might come in for an issue, a smoking issue, and it's, well, you won't smoke no more. You'll be free of smoking and you'll do something different from now on, and so on and so forth. So we know that can work with some people in certain situations. We also know that we want to have the flexibility to help the person find a solution to whatever the issue is, which could be a number of things. So we want to sort of find a balance between the approach that looks at the client almost like a mechanic will look at a car with some sort of defect. And you bring the car in and there's some sort of technical issue with the car, whether it be the fuel injection or the electrical system or whatever it might be. We want to sort of get a more balanced view of that and think a little bit differently, so to speak, in terms of how people might see the car, the defect, a computer, it needs to be reprogrammed, or it needs a new piece of software for a virus. Some people have issues about that. Clients, in their own point of view, you can imagine a client thinking, well, what's going to happen if I go under a state of trance and I get induced into a state of trance? What's going to happen in between? What control do I have? So we need to give the clients some autonomy so they can have their own experience. They can experience they enjoy, experience that they can make a smooth transition, experience they can use over again, without telling them and instructing them, you'll do this, you'll do that. People don't really like to be told in that way for the most part. So you're not telling the client they're defective, they've got this issue. We're not making an assumption they've got a certain issue. We're helping them find a solution for a more pragmatic approach. So I treat my clients with dignity and respect. I don't see them as broken, I don't see them as defective. I've worked with people for a long time, over many, many years. So I'm going to give you an example. When I used to do some work with young people in care homes and secure unit on the education area, for example, some had labels of having ADHD, some had labels of having Asperger's or autism, so on and so forth, or learning difficulties, as they put it, or whichever way you want to look at it. So for me, that was a label. So what I would do, what Jim would do to help them engage in education, is find things that they like to do. What do they like to do? So if they were learning science, for example, if they want to learn science, geometry and physics, I'm not a physics expert, but what I would do is take the young people to play sports. The ones who are labelled of having ADHD, take them to play sport, snooker, so they could be physically active. And while they were doing sport, they could do the key skills on the snooker table, the scores. And they could do the math, the geometry, when they're hitting the balls in the pockets to calculate the angles. So they were doing something that they like to do, and blended in that approach was learning. So I get to engage in learning. And there was one young person at one point who I was teaching math. And as I was teaching math and key skills, he'd been expelled from many, many schools, and he had every label you could ever imagine in his file. And he was really passionate about the Air Force. He really loved and liked the Air Force. So I got him to build paper planes. And the care staff were looking at me thinking, what in the world? What's he doing? Building paper planes? What's all that about? What's all that about? I'm like, patience. Patience. I know what I'm doing. These guys haven't got this lad to engage for more than 5 minutes without him being violent and aggressive. And I was working with him, and he was building these planes, and he was building these different things, and for what I said was his Air Force. And it was a game. I got him to play a game where he had to build an Air Force, I had to build an Air Force, and we're going to have a challenge. But to build that Air Force, you had to build planes and count the planes and key skills and geometry, folding the planes up. Then I would get him to go to the track, and he had to get physically fitter and stronger to challenge to have a battle, so to speak, in that way. And a battle that way was better than the battle he was doing with his fist. The way I would see it, it's a lot lesser evil than a battle him being violent that way than building planes. And then they finally caught on and realised that's what Jim's doing. Young person's engaging for 2 hours. He wasn't engaging for 10 minutes before. It's about creativity. It's about helping the person find what they like to do. So those who used to work with me in the past, and I'm sharing that story, if you didn't know what I was doing then, that's what I was doing. Because I took a group of young people who all but not by the system, and I got them doing GCSEs and so on and so forth. No sooner than I did, everyone else started doing it too. That's what Jim was doing. Experience. Because if you do something you like to do, you enjoy doing it for the most part. And Jim's going to be pretty good at it to a certain degree. And you've got the resources. You're confident you've got the resources. Because people, when they don't have the resources, if you told someone go drive a car and never driven a car before, how are they going to feel? How are they going to feel if someone says, go drive a car, you've never driven a car before? How are you going to feel? But if you've driven a car 1 million times, a bit different, isn't it? Okay, so back to the program. We want to elaborate shortly on how to connect someone's resources, using what they like to do, what they like to do to connect to their resources. So we want to get the balance between the therapist saying, you will do what I say, you will do this, I will get the script, and they come in for an issue, and this is the script, you will not like chocolate no more, you will not like cigarette no more, when you smell a cigarette you're going to feel sick and you'll never want a cigarette in your life again, and you're going to bring the fresh air in your lungs and you're going to be a transformed person, and or you're going to forget about that person you dated for 10 years. I'm going to delete it out of your mind. And I once had someone phone me up, and this person phoned me up saying, Jim, I need your help. You need the therapist. You need the therapist. I said, yes, okay, how can I help you? I've just broken up with my girlfriend. I've got to forget her. I've got to forget her. You've got to do some hypnosis and get her out of our mind. I said, well, if you're prepared to do 1 session a day, 7 days a week for the next 20 years, you might just forget it. The brain doesn't work that way, at least as far as we're aware at the moment. At least as far as we're aware at the moment. And every year I get stacks of calls for weight loss in January. Can you do a session where you hypnotize me and I don't eat any of these foods ever again, and so on and so forth? Well, it doesn't quite work that way, okay? Which is something we'll talk about in future seminars as we go along. So I want to be able to, the person to be able to connect to the positive resources they have. So we're not seeing them as being broken. We're not seeing them as the person needing fixing, so to speak. They don't need fixing in that way, shape or form. We're sort of connected to their resources. We've got to be careful that we sort of stay away from treating the label rather than what's underneath the label. So when I have people got depression, I'm not treating the label based on what a person with depression should experience. I ask the person what the experience is, what the understanding is, and then we can sort of move them forward to where they are, to where they want to be, more functional. So we look at their beliefs, their thoughts, we look at their beliefs, their thoughts, and how they have an impact on their behaviour, on their emotions, on their physiology, and how we can challenge their beliefs, how we can get them to engage in behavioural strategies, in emotional strategies, in physiological strategies like breathing and walking, and things that can produce chemicals in the brain to feel better, to become more functional, greater activity, do able experiments and exposure, and so on and so forth. So we want to stay away from being this person, the therapist on the ivory tower. We are the expert. We have all the answers to all the world's problems. And I've seen many therapists say to me, I don't know if I can be a therapist, Jim, because I have problems. Yes, the only people who don't have problems are the ones who are 6 foot in the ground, as far as I'm aware. It's okay, you can be human. You can be human if you're a therapist. And some of the best therapists I know have had more issues than anyone you could ever imagine, which is probably why they're good therapists. So we sort of get away from being this person who is on the ivory tower, the sort of person that we've seen for many years portray themselves as being the epitome, you know, the person who walks around and so on and so forth. So really we want to be human and you know, we can be holistic in our approach and turn every stone over to help the person get better. So I mentioned that we're going to how to use likes as resources. So now I'm going to teach you in the final part of the seminar how to use likes, how to use what a client likes. Now, each case is based on formulation, and I always tell people work on a level that you're competent to work with. So if you are a therapist, then you can use techniques extension to what you do already anyway. Obviously, you're working in an environment, you check with who you're working with. So this is educational purpose. I'm not making any recommendations. All I do is based on case formulation. And certainly, I would say to anyone, you work on your level of competence, on your level of qualification, your level of accreditation, on your remit. Which is key. But we use a client's likes as a resource. But whether you're a teacher, a butcher, a baker, a candlestick maker, you can help someone connect to at least become more confident using what they like to do as a resource. It's a great resource the person has already anyway. So the best resources people have is their own mind, to get them to connect to their own resources. So I showed you in the earlier seminar in demonstration that we saw by asking someone to focus on what they like to do, they become absorbed. They got the absorption in what they like to do. So what I did earlier before is I got you to say what you like to do. So you can ask the client, what do they like to do? What do they enjoy doing? What do they like to do? What are they good at? And you get them to connect to that resource. They can talk to about what they like to, and they can get absorbed in that. They can get absorbed in that experience, in what they like to do. So it could be, for example, like to go for, ride the bike. A country ride. What do they like about riding in the countryside? It could be the beautiful English countryside, the beautiful weather, awesome weather we're having at the moment. It could be the fresh air. It could be the socialising element of that. It could be like to play guitar. So if you think about what I said earlier, what do you like to do? And what do you like about what you like to do? So if you like to play the guitar, do you like being in the zone and playing the guitar? Do you like to be on stage and you like the crowd and bouncing off the crowd? Do you like the music? What do you like about what you do? So what do you like? You like going for a drive? What do you like about drive? What do you like about what you do? So you're going to be deeper. So we can do that. And I mentioned in the first seminar about the young person I was working with, and I mentioned again, who was very resistant, who'd been to see therapists as far as I'm aware. And he came along to me, I'm a young lad, he came along with his mum, and this is the thing I do over again, and I get them to engage what they like doing. So I got the young lad who was resistant to write down his favourite football team and pick his best 11. And that's something I've done on several occasions with people who are resistant. Younger people who've got resistance, they don't know what hypnosis is, they might Google it and get a bit of research and see all these wonderful and weird characters. And at least then it kind of distracts them on a conscious level and absorb themselves in what they really like to do. Then I took the young person to play some football, like kick a ball about. It so happened to be that with this young person, because I've been in the game of football from a consultant's point of view, and I've worked in football for many teams. One of the teams he really liked, I did some work for, we did really, really well. So that really helped to get rapport, because rapport is really important, which we'll touch on in future sessions. Yet the connection was there. So I'm going to take him out, and while we took him out, we're doing some work with him, some conversational work, which I'm sort of going to demonstrate more and more as we go along through the series of seminars I'm doing. So it's quite useful to get him to write down his team, and while he's writing down his team, I'd use metaphor and story to help with the issue that you have. Okay, so think about what you said earlier about what you like to do. Okay, so you can think about that, what you like to do. Now once again, if we go back to that, what you wrote down or what you made a mental note, go back to that experience. Go back to that experience. Think of something you like to do and go back to a time where you did what you like to do, and perhaps you'd like to close your eye, and as you close your eyes, fully engage in what you like to do. Feel it, what you see. Become really absorbed in the experience of what you like to do. Really, really, really absorbed in what you like to do. I'm going into the zone 2. Think of something you like to do. What you see. What you hear. What you feel. And as you do that, notice how you feel about any challenges you might have coming up. So knowing that you can do what you like to do well, and at one point you didn't know how to do what you like to do, you learned it. You weren't born doing what you like to do, you learned it. You then feel better about future challenges, so to speak. You then feel a bit more confident to deal with minor major challenges or major things that might go wrong. So we're ready and we've got the resources to take on whatever might come your way. So for example, as a baby, you weren't born walking or talking. But as a baby, what you did is you took a few steps, you fell down. You took a few steps, you fell down, then you balanced and a number of occasions, until you unconsciously now walk, or you speak, you said your first words. So you drive a car, you ride a bike. The point that where you started riding a bike, you had training wheels, and then you went forward. A car, you had an instructor. So I am a big believer in working with the client on the capacity they can tolerate. So, you know me, you work with me, I don't work on the basis of you take one big jump and you sink or swim. I think that's quite useful in some areas of life, not in therapy, because I think you're going to sink. I think in therapy it's incremental steps. So we take one step forward, rather than 3 steps forward and 5 back. Because if we put the client a long way out of their comfort zone, we're going to create trauma, which we'll talk about in future seminars. But incremental changes, bit by bit, push as far as they can tolerate, and by doing that, in time we'll see big changes. Now we don't know, every client's going to react differently in different situations, yet in saying that the person's going to be more comfortable. Not saying not push them out of the comfort zone, but not push them too far out of the comfort zone that they create panic and fear, so to speak. Because generally speaking, think about it, if you haven't driven before and someone says go drive on the motorway, it's just not going to happen for most people in most situations. So really you want to build your way around that. So if someone tells you to do whatever you do, whatever you've learned, to jump on a bike, and you tell a 4-year-old to just jump on a bike that's too big for the 4-year-old to ride, with no training wheels, they're going to fall and they could hurt themselves. They might never want to ride the bike again. You put the training wheels, they might still fall the training wheels, but it's going to be a softer blow, a softer fall. So that's one thing to think about, really. But the fact that you can sort of reassure the client to a certain degree that there wouldn't have been a point that what they liked to do they couldn't do, but they learned it, and they learned that they can learn something else, it can be a quite useful resource to work with, and it can help to build confidence. I'll talk more about that in future videos as we go along. So by asking them to go into an experience that they like, it can help them to connect with a specific resource, a collection of resources. So all of a sudden you then connect with a collection of resources. I was working with someone once who had a bit of an accident while they were going on a country walk, and they wouldn't go for walks. They had this fear of going in the countryside to go for a walk, or walking anyway. And we sort of started back to basics again. When they first learned to walk as a baby, they didn't go countryside, they took falls, and this was an experience they had. And bit by bit we got them to visualise walking in the countryside. Then we did a bit of an experiment, walk in certain places that they felt comfortable walking in, and bit by bit we got them, and then we got them back to full functionality as we went along. So it's a way to help them connect with specific resources, collection of resources, but actually a state of resourcefulness as well. So it's useful for the person to have the experience. And when you ask someone to talk about what they like to do, and when you get them to connect to what they like to do, whatever it might be, you can dig deeper. So for example, I said you like riding a bike. Why is it you like riding about the bike? It could be the fresh air. It could be the beautiful countryside, it could be the socialising, it could be being part of the group. I worked with someone once and she said she really enjoyed running. What do you like about running? The freedom, the fresh air, the countryside, being part of a running club, the affiliation, the external attribution of being with a running club. So by asking them to imagine or to simply experience or invite them to experience what they like to do, we can get them to start to focus. We can focus on that experience, and as they focus on the experience, they can sort of connect to those resources and get really absorbed in that situation. And as they get absorbed in the situation, what they see, what they hear, what they feel, and get some details and get them to fully engage in that experience. We know the mind can't tell there's reality and non-reality, so it can be quite a useful thing to do that so they can focus purely. They really become fully engaged in that experience. And we'll do the process with you again. And this is one process that we will look at and focusing on this seminar, but in future seminars we're going to tie into other stuff as we go along through the series of seminars and you begin to learn. So we're going to break the learning down. So once again, think about what you like to do. And as you think about what you like to do, or you write down what you like to do, think about what it is that you like about doing what you like to do. What do you like about it? What do you like about it? And as you focus on what you like about it, fully engage in the experience. Go back to the experience like the here and now. Really focus on the experience. And as you focus on the experience, I'm focusing on the experience too. Because I'm going to resourceful state as well. I'm going to put myself, and this is useful as a therapist, as a coach too, go to resourceful state as well, or speakers. So I'm thinking now, and I'm engaging, and I'm noticing what I see, and getting absorbed in that state, and doing. And we can build up, and we can build a link between the problem state to a more resourceful state. And as we build a link from the problem state to the resourceful state, we can start moving across the solution. So if you do have an issue going on in your life, you can think about the issue, thinking, well, connect to the resources you've got with something you like to do. And as you connect to the resources you've got with something you like to do, if you learn to do that, you can overcome the issue you've got. And as you think about overcoming the issues you've got, think about the outcome you want. A well-formed outcome that you want. Well, what are you wanting? What do you want to happen? Which is key. So we can use this process with pretty much a great deal of areas that we work with. And we can help the person become engaged and absorbed in a real resourceful state. Because we talked about, last seminar, everyday trance. We talked about common everyday trance. And common everyday trance being anything from when we play sport, we're absorbed in that state, in the zone, or we're doing a dissertation and it feels like a minute's gone, 2 hours have gone by. We're doing a talk and we're so absorbed in talk, it feels like a minute's gone by, an hour's gone by. Or we're driving a car, listening to music, and it feels like a minute's gone by, an hour's gone by. The things we do throughout the day, things that you enjoy, you might go for a walk, talking to a friend, go for a nice walk, like on a beautiful day like today, and you go for a nice walk, and as you go for that nice walk, it feels like it's been a minute, but really it's been an hour, so to speak. So we get them, or you get the person to go into that absorbed, resourceful state. And as they go into that resourceful state, then you can empower the person you're working with into a solution-focused approach with a well-formed outcome. What do they want to do? And you build confidence then, because you know, well, I've learned to do that, but I can learn to do this, because behaviour is learned to a certain extent. Our beliefs about the world, our values, they're all learned to a big degree. So from a biopsychosocial point of view, yeah, we've got a biological disposition, we've got psychological mindset. We learn behaviours of people around us. We learn through our parents, our carers, through social groups, through modelling people. We learn beliefs, we learn values. From a psychological point of view, we learn how to behave and how to handle situations from the people around us as well. From a social point of view, collectively, so within all that, we can also help people connect to a different perspective, a different reality, and engaging in a new reality, they can think clearly about what they want. And we're going to talk more in future seminars about creating a solution and how to create a well-formed outcome, how to guide the person you're working from the problem state to a more desired state, to an outcome they want to experience. And we're going to help them through a series of different interventions, language, patterns, metaphors, stories, and so on and so forth. For this evening, I want to talk more about some of the challenges you've got around the stigma of hypnosis, and as well as using the likes. Next seminar, we've got a really special seminar. As we go along and do more and more stuff, bit by bit. So I'm going to break these learnings down to 45 minutes or so to give you enough time to digest that learning. We've got 2 seminars done before this one here. You can watch them before you watch this one. If you haven't watched them before, anyone that hasn't seen this one, or you can watch them if you haven't watched the other ones at some point, and you can sort of put the pieces together. The next seminar, we're going to help the person work out what's missing, connect back, because it's when we're disconnected from a certain situation, we feel a level of anxiety. When we feel we haven't got the resources to cope with a certain issue, if we feel we've got the resources, then we'll generally be okay. So, in a nutshell, getting someone to engage in what they like to do helps them build the resources and connect with the resources they have, the resources they have. It's a really long to give you a quick story before we wrap up for today. I was working with someone recently with anxiety, public speaking. Now, they had to do a presentation. The person I was working with was a very knowledgeable person in the area that I was presenting. Very, very knowledgeable person in the area I had to present. Yet all that said and done, that anxiety at the prospect of presenting. So what were they focusing on? What they were focusing on is a little bit like in academia. If you focus on an exam, say you score 5 out of 10, if you focus on the 5 you got wrong, you're going to feel a level of anxiety and self-esteem and lack of confidence. If you got right to 5, and if you got 5 right, you can get 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 bit by bit incrementally, you're going to feel more confident. So all these things said and done, they were focusing on the association they had to speaking. And this association with this person, we sort of peel the onion away, was based on school. And at school, they got in trouble and they got shouted at intensely by the teacher for not doing their homework. And the teacher said, "Get to the front of the classroom and tell everyone you've done homework." So they had this schema, this belief about standing up in front of people and this emotional intensity. So when they processed the event, the public speaking, the event, their thoughts were, what if I don't know? What if I'm perceived this way? What if I'm perceived that way? What's going to happen if? So in their thinking, they had a number of cognitive distortions. They were mind reading, they were making assumptions and so on and so forth. So we challenged their beliefs about speaking, but also the impact on their thoughts, on their emotion. While their thoughts and the beliefs they had about speaking had a big impact on them emotionally. They felt, even the thought of speaking, they felt anxious and sad and apprehensive, and behaviourally become withdrawn. If the thought of speaking, they just run out of the room, and physiologically the thought of speaking, the heart rate would go up and so on and so forth. So we worked on these areas, and we worked on the belief, and we also did some hypnosis with them to regress the person I was working with, to let go of the emotions they had associated to speaking, and reevaluate the whole thing and reframe it and look at it as an opportunity to go out there and express what they knew. And within a few sessions, they become a really good speaker, and they're speaking now pretty much for a living. So it goes to show that our thoughts about a certain event have a big impact on our emotion, behaviour and physiology, and all these things. So now we can work on those various areas, and we can also do hypnosis, guided imagery, positive hallucination, we can do regression, and many different things, and we help the person to clean things up and so on and so forth, and get them to connect with what they could do really well. So I got them to talk about their area of expertise, and when they talked about what they liked to do, they became passionate. They were really passionate about what they wanted to do. They were doing a talk on health and fitness. They were passionate about it. They loved it, purely passionate. They knew their stuff. And I said, well, tell me a bit about what you're doing. And their eyes really, they just lit up, their face lit up. They loved it. They talked about fitness, and they wanted to help people. They loved helping people, and they really lit up. So it was about taking that, connecting those resources, and by connecting those resources, then transferring across to their area of speaking, and changing the perception, change your world. And it got to a point where they love speaking. They love going and standing up now and speaking to different people about their passion, their life. So we got them to connect their resources. So on the next time we'll talk about how to find out what's missing, where people become disconnected from their resources. Because remember, there's an issue of competence. Most people are competent enough to do what they want to do. They lack the confidence for one reason or the other. And that's the way they perceive themselves. So really, one way to get the confidence back and to build some sort of momentum is reconnect to what you do really, really well, and build it. And obviously, from there of competence is a different story altogether. You wouldn't ask someone to fly a plane and not a pilot, or wouldn't ask someone to do brainstorming, not being trained to do it. But most people are competent enough to do what they would like to do. They just lack the confidence for whatever reason. And behaviour to a certain degree is learned. We learn things along the way. Some behaviour is good, some is not useful for us. We've got to make the distinction. What works, what's not working. Because every behaviour serves an intention. And sometimes certain behaviours, they might not support us in the outcome they want, but we've got a secondary gain. We might do harmful behaviour to ourselves. We might moan, we might do things like to get secondary gain, to get attention. We might also do it to fulfill a human need. So I work with clients who've done things like self-harming, and they do it to get the attention. All of them, some of them do it because they feel that they're getting love, they're getting the attention, the adulation. I talk about one person I was working with who used to self-harm, and she would do it to the point she'd get really cut herself really badly, and the reason she'd do it was they'd fuss all over after she did that. So if you reward behaviour, you get more of it. So you've got to find that happy medium to support someone to get through the challenge that they're in, which is quite useful. So for the most part, you could say, well, if you're facilitating, the person's got solutions, why don't they do it for themselves? Well, the analogy I use is like a driving instructor. You might want to drive, you might have learned to learn to ride a bike, you might want to do a lot of other things, yet in saying that, the driving instructor facilitates the experience. So in a way, the therapist and the coach is more or less a facilitator. You can't do it for them, you can guide them, you can mentor that person, you can help them to become more resourceful, you can help them to get from A to B and learn what they need to do. You can't do it for them. And the unconscious mind will find the best solution it can find on its own. And that solution might not always be the best one, or it might be something that's learned from someone else and not best for them. So we unconsciously have a wealth of resources, and we'll talk about that more as we go on in future seminars. So once again, thank you. You're more than welcome to email me, Jimmy Petruzzi. That's info at excelwithnlp.com, info@excelwithnlp.com, info@excelwithnlp.com. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure you enjoyed a lot out of it. Until next time, good night.